Hi everyone. I wanted to remind you that the Self Storage Summit is coming up quickly. Go to the selfstoragesummit.com to claim your free pass to the 2019 summit. Now again, hey, this is a virtual summit. This is going to be held online and not in the conference room. I'm delivering over 25 experts in self-storage right to your computer. So again, go to the selfstoragesummit.com to register, and I'll see you soon. So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self-Storage Show. Today we're going to do another little storage spotlight series. I got Cheli Rosa with me from Storage Treasures. How's it going?
Good, Jim. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's kind of nice doing it this way. I see you at the shows and all that off and on, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to actually having you on here. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. Anyway, I wanted to kind of show this will be a little visual as well. Of course, we have the podcast. So podcast listeners, great. We'll walk you through it too, but maybe you want to go and check out the videos as well as we're going through this. But anyway, we're going to be kind of talking about some tips to help maximize your online storage auctions. And I made that switch to online auctions years and years ago, and best decision I ever made. So any tips I can make to help a little bit here and there, hey, I'm all ears. So this is for me as well for everybody else listening. So please, go right ahead.
Okay, absolutely. Well, one of the things that was difficult, because I used to be a live auctioneer. I had a live auction company. And one of the things that was always difficult was tracking trends with your auctions and trying to figure out kind of, what was happening, what was a good time to have auctions, what was a good day to have auctions, because unless you were keeping like a spreadsheet with every auction that happened for 3 or 4 years, there's no way to collect the data with a live auction.
You did live auctions?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm a licensed auctioneer.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did that for a little while, and man, that drove me nuts. But
it takes a special kind of. It's an interesting little gig.
Oh, that should be its own reality show. I know they'd like this, they'd like the storage wars and all that, but just like watching the auctions and all that, just because the crowd stuff that comes, that's unique. Let's put it that way. So that's why I said when I got a little taste of it online, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Cool.
Yeah, I can't say that I miss actually standing there in front of the units calling the auction. My husband does. He loved it. But, it's the technical world that we're in now. So everybody's moving to online auctions, but there's still a lot of people that aren't using it yet. So Storage Treasures has been collecting data for many, many years because, they were the leader and kind of the pioneer in the industry. So they've had the opportunity to put all this information together. And it's really important because it drives a lot of best practices and how many pictures you should have and how many days it should be active on the website, that sort of thing. And it's a very tough area to predict turnout because there's so many variables.
Sure.
Good units, how much do they owe? Was it an active military tenant that they sat on that owes $5,000? Are you only going to recover 2% off of that? Probably. So there's a ton of different variables that go into it, but we feel like we've done a pretty good job of narrowing down a lot of the information.
Nice. Well, I want to see what you have to say, but I got to say right off the bat real quick, what you just said as far as like what they're owing and when it goes for. That's actually the number one reason why I started going to online auctions, because I had so many people that were like waiting to justify to have enough units to justify, okay, now I can have a live auction because now people are going to show up. And
right.
It's so inefficient, leaving so much money on the table that you could just be getting that unit out of there to get someone else re-rented that unit and get some revenue coming in. So
right. And
that's why I went to online auctions.
Yeah, especially for operators that are highly occupied. You need that space.
Gotta go. Yep.
Yeah, you want to move it faster. So we can look at some of the different things that we have collected data on. I will show you our, what we call it's a SciSense dashboard that OpenTech has. And we make these for clients too, so they can look at their properties. But this is our main overall board for 2019. So you can see we've had almost 170,000 auctions and sold, canceled, and unsold, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then these boxes will show you what the average unit price was for each day of that month. You see here we've got one that the average price was $859, which is a lot.
Wow, I'm actually surprised by that.
Let's see, what was it? It's a Sunday. Okay, so this is just a simple measure of supply and demand right here.
Yeah.
We don't sell that many units, so it's not that hard to draw the average down, but there's only a lot of people will pay more because there's not as much inventory. So we've been trying to convince people to branch out a little bit on what days they have their auctions, and sometimes the weekends do work out well. Sometimes they don't. It's, you know, it's, as I said, that's those other variables that take into consideration.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. Like I said, supply and demand. If you're not competing against so many other auctions that are being held that day, you get a little more attention. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and so we can do this by state, which is really awesome. If you click on the state, it'll change all this data to that state. And we also have reports that we have not on the dashboard, but that break it down by cities. So we know like what the average hammer price for each city is that we operate in. So that's really cool. So we can break it down really well for a client in a specific area if they're interested in how much they can expect to gain in returns.
Interesting.
And this is
I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but just like as a whole, do you guys like have like a metric of what the average unit is actually selling for?
It changes from month to month.
Sure.
So let's see, the average unit price in September was $176.72. Okay. And you can see here, we're in April and May, it's much higher. And again, that's going to go March, April, and May, again with the supply and demand principle, because tenants are paying their bill because they've gotten tax returns. And I know you think that sounds crazy. Yeah. This trend has occurred every year for 10 years that I've been doing this.
Wow.
More tenants pay their bills, less supply, higher prices. And then we go into the summertime and the prices dip every year. I call it the summer slump because I guess the bidders are, you know, their kids are out of school, they're on vacation, just like everybody else in the world. They're just not working as much during that time. Plus it's hot in a lot of places. They don't want to go clean out hot storage units.
But then again, they're also not having to go to all the different auctions as well when they're live auctions and just, you know, rolling the dice. That's another reason why I like the online. They can browse in the comfort of their own home. But real quick, I'm just going to put my operator hat on and talking about for owners. I hear this sometimes when it comes to, well, this is how much they owe, and I should be getting this much back to get my money back. That's not the point. Like we said before, this is about churning, getting them out to be able to get re-renters to come back in. So if you're getting, you know, like I said, $175 to $200 on average, great. At least that's recouping some of the costs you've incurred thus far, and you're getting the unit cleaned out to be able to re-rent it. So that's actually very surprising to have that number. So
yeah, and it's
myself.
It's actually low for us. So we actually normally do a lot better, but again, you got to look at the percentage of the amount that you're recovering, because there's no way, it's not fair market value. There's no way you're going to recover 70, 80, 100% on a regular basis. Wow. Our average sits around like 33% overall, which is good.
Perfect. That's great. Okay, good metrics. Yeah, keep it going.
So this is the number of online auctions we have per month. The blue line is the total auctions that we have each month. This is just kind of informative, you know, this is how many sold, canceled and unsold. And these are cool because almost all of these can be exported either into a visual graph or a CSV file, so like an Excel spreadsheet. So we can deliver this information easily to clients. I can even filter this by any of the companies that use our service. Do you use Storage Treasures?
Yep.
What's the name?
I could just pick, I want to actually use my own because you can just pick one though.
Yeah, I'll just pick one.
I'm making my own notes because exactly, as far as like, there's always little things here and there that you can do to really maximize your listing. So
right.
I'm making notes right along with everybody else here.
So I'm just going to pick one. Let's just say A, American Storage. Maybe they'll see this and get some good information.
Hey, okay.
And so they're in 2 states. They've had 730 auctions. These are the days. Their average hammer price, that's not very good. You can see here their prices yo-yo a little bit depending on, and this, you know, as I said, depending on what kind of units they have, how many units they're selling. A lot of people don't understand that the vast majority of our units sell on the same 2 days of the week every month. So we sell Like on the 17th and 18th of this month, we sold 5,000 units. So those aren't the best days to list, even though they may make the most sense for operations on like a Tuesday and Wednesday or Wednesday and Thursday. They don't make the most sense for return.
Yeah, but why does that make sense for operations? Why do they do it at those same days? What's the reason
It's just
behind that?
not the beginning of the week, not the end of the week. They can, if you sell it on Wednesday, if you give them 72 hours, they can have it cleaned out by Saturday.
Gotcha. Okay. They're thinking about their work for the manager having to deal with that. Okay, makes sense.
Right. So then it breaks down into, these are the number of days you have the unit active. And I'm actually going to turn this off because the data is much more impressive without this.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. Like, what's the average length of time to have it being listed to get enough eyeballs on it?
So we recommend 10 days at the very least. I pull all of these stats every month to compare to my clients because I work with some of the strategic clients, which are our bigger clients, to show them how many days they need to be listed. And consistently, the highest prices come at the 11-day mark here recently.
Okay.
Yeah, so the orange line is the average sale price. And you can see it just goes up and up and up and up and up as longer you have it listed. Now, some of these are weird because that's not really valuable data if there's not that many units listed at 51 days active. A lot of people are not going to list that far out.
No.
Yeah. So at 11 days, it's an average unit price of $222.95.
Okay, so 11 days. Okay, that's want to make myself a little checklist here. So it's about 11 days out is when you want to get this posted to get enough traffic. Okay, makes sense.
Right. And we're also marketing on our end, on the back end. We're buying Google ads and pay-per-click ads, and we're listing on social media, and we're listing on auction directories, and we just can't be effective in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of lost sometimes. I think people just see it as a platform to put it on, but no, you're doing work behind the scenes of making sure it's getting in front of people. So it's not just, hey, put it on your website and there you go. No, you're actually doing a lot of work to drive traffic to your site.
Right. But we don't make money if you don't make money.
Oh, there you go.
And this is, of course, the photo count. The more photos you have, the higher the sale price, which is the orange is the sale price. And it just goes straight up. And what I've learned just from looking closely at this data for so long now, even if the pictures are redundant and similar, they still drive higher prices.
Really?
Yep.
So more is better. Okay. So I'm actually guilty of that because I'll take pictures and like, it's pretty much the same angle. I've already done. So why post it again? So that helps.
It's kind of like putting more meat on the bone, if you will. I mean, even if they're similar, a buyer might see something different in the corner of the unit that piques their interest. It just gives them more to look at, more time spent looking at your listing.
Yeah.
And the data is consistent, so it works.
Yeah, I always put myself in the mindset of a auction buyer. Probably just because seeing somebody doing the live auctions, but you'll see them peek over the top and crouch down below. So it's getting different angles. So even if you look at one spot, up, middle, below, so just kind of get as much different angles as you can.
Right, and if you have serial numbers or UPCs, because they'll go look that stuff up, like on boxes, yeah. So that's best practice recommendation that we provide is for 10 days. And you can see here 236.13 at 10 days, which is a really great unit price number.
Oh, perfect.
And then we actually tracked if the clean out time you allow impacts the hammer price.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah, at 24 hours, this is a little bit lower. So the green is the sale price. And it looks like in this instance, 72 hours provided more. But let me show you something interesting. Don't ask me why. Texas is Texas.
I'm not gonna say crap about Texas. I'll get hate mail. Okay.
Sorry, I have to close out my windows. Stop messaging me. Oh my God. And here I am on a call. I closed it out. Anyway, so we're on Texas. And if you go down here, you get to the 24-hour mark, and it's so much higher. So it really does change from area to area.
Interesting. You would think that'd be very consistent. All right.
You would.
Guys in Texas, they want to get their stuff and get in and get out. Okay.
Yeah. Turn this off. Go back to all of our states again.
But to me, I mean, again, this is not to say it's common sense, but to me, it feel like that's a little rushed. I think when you were showing the kind of the more of the averages, what I saw like 72-hour kind of a thing was a little more higher.
Yeah.
That sits about right with me. It gives them enough time to make sure they can get their things in order to be able to come and get the units. So you're giving them a little more flexibility that way. So that makes sense that it would kind of drive a little more of a traffic, a little higher price, giving that flexibility to the customer.
Yeah, I always tell clients my recommendation is just to base your clean out time on how highly occupied you are, because you're not technically losing money if you have units available.
Yep.
So if you can give them more time to motivate them to buy more units, then great. If not, cut it down to 48.
Yep. An extra day or two is not going to kill you. So got it.
Right. So this is, again, just the average number of bidders and sale price by month. So this is the average number of bidders per unit, which means in March, we had 4.61 bids per unit with an average hammer price of $221.84. And don't forget, again, the supply and demand of the early part of the year, end of the first quarter into the second quarter.
And again, that kind of mimics, again, I'm always kind of referencing live auctions versus, online auctions. Again, it kind of mimics like, okay, if it's a live auction, you get it down to just a couple of people that are interested in that one unit, and they're the ones that are kind of going back and forth on it. So, that makes sense.
Well, and with online auctions, there's no collusion, because if you've got these bidders work together every day.
Yep.
They go to breakfast in the morning and plan how much each one of them's going to spend, and then they split the unit up. So you really do get the highest price you're going to get, hopefully.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have the days of the week, with orange again or blue being the sale price down here. Saturday, Sunday.
All right.
So that's interesting, and it changes from area to area and month to month, of course.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
just
sure.
now coming out of our summer slump, so around November, those numbers will be a lot higher. And this is just, this is really more of like internal data. I don't know that, a lot of operators would find this totally valuable, but it allows us to track how many views we're getting overall to see if viewership has dropped, so that we can be cognizant of the fact that we're not getting as many eyes on the units.
Yeah.
And also the average overall bidders, to help us make sure that when we see that number start to drop, we do what we need to do to get it back up.
That makes sense. Got to keep an eye on the traffic. That's what it's all about.
Right. Absolutely. So as I said, any of this is exportable and adjustable and customizable, and I think it's great information to give people. I don't know that other auction platforms aren't doing something similar to this. I would assume they are. That would make the most sense, but I haven't seen anything this cohesive for it yet.
Well, again, it's just put myself as the operator. I'm posting auctions. In fact, I just did a couple hours ago of, because you kind of get in the groove of, okay, this, like you just said, this is the day I'm posting it. You just kind of get, this is how many pictures I do, that kind of stuff. So if they can just kind of take a moment and just think it through a little bit of, what will set them up for a little more success, to be able to get a little more traffic and some more money on those units. If they can just analyze that just a little bit more and have more of an impact on their revenue, why not? So yeah, sit back and think for about, the days that you're posting it and how many pictures you're actually posting and things like that. And then run the auction, and then you can kind of compare what you've done in the past. Maybe it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. I had a client that just came on board a couple months ago, and their team was really resistant to the best practices recommendations that I made. So the first month that they listed, they didn't use them. So then I came back to, the powers that be at the company and said, listen, you've got to make them do this. And they more than doubled their average unit price from the first month to the second month by making them institute the best practices.
And what do you think was the biggest, I'm just curious, like for that specific case study, what did they do differently?
Well, they were actually putting 10 pictures instead of 2. They were listing it for 10 days instead of 3.
There you go. Yep.
Those are the 2 biggest ones.
Okay, that's well, I'm guilty of as far as how long it's been up there. So I'm going to change mine to 10 days, because I think mine was at 7, I believe. So I love that up myself. So good deal. Well,
Yeah.
again, this is kind of a good little blueprint for success for online auctions. But people that want to reach out to you to get some more information, what's the best way to reach out to you?
My email address is crosa@opentechalliance.com. And also coming up, I do a lot of lien law training from the auctioneer perspective about the different statutes.
Yeah.
And starting in October, I will have a special LinkedIn group where people can reach me. It's going to be called Lien Law 101. Find it on LinkedIn. Ask to join. We're going to talk about all kinds of different lien law topics and best practices as well, this kind of information. So hopefully I'll be able to get a good bit of people on there.
Cool. I'll do what I can to get you and drive some traffic to LinkedIn because I love LinkedIn. So do a lot of stuff on there. All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks for taking the time and being on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stu.
All right. See you around. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.